Ticket stubs and crooked pictures waiting underneath the dust. A birthday candle burnt too quickly, a postcard never sent away, 3 wrong turns on unfamiliar roads, and all the plans that couldn't stay. Shoelaces tied in different lengths, rain-soaked pages in a book, the awkward haircut from September, and every chance I never took. I used to hide these memories behind locked drawers inside my mind. Welcome to the museum of small mistakes and borrowed grace. Every little misdirection help me recognize this face. Nothing here is wasted, nothing asks to be erased. Even all my wrong decisions led me to this place. Museum of small mistakes, museum of small mistakes. Every room still softly echoes with the person I became. Forgotten names on paper bracelets, train schedules folded in my coat, the apology I practiced nightly but never had the nerve to quote. Half-completed watercolor paintings, recipes that turned out strange. I thought they proved my failures, now they simply show my change. Growing older isn't losing, it's learning how to rearrange. Welcome to the museum where imperfect stories stay. Every crack and every detour found another way. Nothing here is broken, nothing needs a different frame. Even all my almost moments still deserve their place. Version of myself did the best with what she knew. She couldn't see tomorrow, but she carried me here too. Welcome to the museum. Take your time and look around. Every fragile piece of history helped build solid ground. Nothing here is shameful, no regrets remain untamed. Even all my little mistakes taught my heart its name. Ticket stubs and crooked pictures resting underneath the dust. I closed the doors behind me, a little lighter than I was. Nobody told the flowers how they had to wait up. One blooms early in April, one prefers the edge of June, another hides beneath the branches, listen for a different tune. Sidewalk cracks collect small miracles, tiny greens push through the stars. keeps rushing past them, but they grow at their own pace. There are clocks on every wall, but roots don't follow any of them. Nobody told the flowers when to open up their hearts. Nobody drew a finish line or handed them a chart. They lean into the weather and trust what they become. Maybe being late to bloom still means you've beautifully begun. Nobody told the flowers. Nobody told the flowers. Some dreams arrive in whispers, others burst in unannounced. A pocket full of second chances, waiting quietly to be found. The people who look effortless carry stories no one sees. Even wild gardens discover how to dance with uncertainty. Not every answer needs to happen overnight. Nobody told the flowers how to carry all that light. Nobody taught the petals how to turn toward brighter skies. Still they keep unfolding without applause or praise. Maybe growing into yourself can happen in 1,000 ways. There is no perfect season, no medal for arriving first. A life can change direction from the smallest shift in earth. Nobody told the flowers they were falling far behind. Nobody measured worth by a calendar or time. They welcomed every morning exactly as it came. Maybe becoming who you are has never been a race. Tiny greens through concrete, petals after rain. The earth keeps teaching patience again and again. Blue stickers by the front door, and an ordinary toast pops up from the kitchen, calendar squares blurred together. The forecast promised nothing special, still the air feels lighter than ever. Bicycles race through puddles, school bells echo down the street. Someone whistles from a bakery, the neighborhood wakes on beat. No fireworks, no grand parade, just tiny reasons to celebrate. I've got a theory about blue. Maybe it isn't sadness at all. Maybe it's open windows and catching yourself before you fall. A theory about blue, like finding spare change in your coat. The little things that remind you hope can stay afloat. Blue, blue, blue. passing by. Receipts folded in my jacket, old playlist finding new life, plants leaning toward the sunlight, tiny victories in plain sight. A stranger holds the elevator, someone waits an extra beat. Kindness shows up unexpectedly and lands beside my feet. The world can feel heavy and suddenly light again. I've got a theory about blue, maybe it's laughter in disguise. The feeling after rainfall, when everything looks newly alive. A theory about blue, the color stitched between routines, turning average mornings into better memories. Nobody knows the future or how the story bends, but beautiful surprises have a habit of returning. I've got a theory about blue, it lives in all the smallest parts, in borrowed umbrellas and brave forgiving hearts. A theory about blue, following wherever I go. Maybe happiness is quieter than I used to know. Blue sneakers by the front door, another beautiful sky.
You wore silver boots to buy a carton of milk, like Tuesdays deserved a costume. Nobody questioned the antenna headband or the glitter on your sleeves. You checked expiration dates like decoding secret frequencies. You carried a notebook filled with impossible inventions, a machine for translating hiccups, a telescope for tiny intentions. Maybe fitting in was never on the schedule. Maybe being different made the whole thing beautiful. Cigarettes for aliens waiting outside the laundromat, trading stories about planets nobody ever asked about. Cigarettes for aliens laughing underneath fluorescent skies, finding family in strangers who never learn for standing out, even while pretending not to. Cigarettes for aliens, dancing badly in the kitchen light, turning awkward introductions into reasons to stay a while. Cigarettes for aliens, building homes from borrowed time, discovering the weirdest hearts, often beat in perfect rhyme. Electric piano skips around vintage synth. Finger bass keeps the pulse moving. The world keeps handing labels, too small for who we are. Maybe we're constellations, impossible to fit inside a jar. Cigarettes for aliens, leaving breadcrumbs made of jokes, finding tenderness in chaos and courage in the unknown. Cigarettes for aliens, no permission slips required, only open seats beside us for the beautifully misplaced. Silver boots by the doorway, milk in the refrigerator. Tomorrow can wait a little longer.
Every morning at 8:15, apartment number 13 blooms. Plants lined up beside the doorway, tiny jungle in the hall, yellow slippers, newspaper folded, wind chimes dancing on the wall, fresh bread tucked beneath one arm, hair still messy from the dream. Morning sunlight finds its favorite resting place on everything. Little habits, tiny scenes, holding up ordinary weeks. Apartment number 13 makes the weekdays softer somehow, turns routine into confetti without ever showing how. Apartment number 13 smiles through half-awakened eyes. Maybe joy is simply hidden in the places we walk by. Apartment number 13, apartment number 13. Every morning feels a little brighter than it's ever been. Keys and tote bags, coffee stains, someone humming out of tune, houseplants stretching toward the balcony, greeting another June. Neighbors trade familiar nods, dogs pull gently at their leads. Nothing famous, nothing perfect, still enough for hearts to breathe. Some happiness arrives this way, wrapped inside an ordinary day. Apartment number 13, tiny miracles appear in the scent of fresh laundry and the laughter drifting near. Apartment number 13 keeps reminding me to see how beautiful the smallest things can quietly be. Nobody wakes beside the kettle, waiting patiently for you. Apartment number 13 leaves the front door open wide for second chances and beginnings, gathered side by side. Apartment number 13, maybe this is all we need. A little more attention to the simple things we keep. 8:15, sunlight streams. Apartment number 13 dreams. Someone left the curtains open. Morning wandered through the room. The kettle sings from down the hallway, fresh fruit waiting on the plate. The neighbor waves while watering basil and asks if everything is great. Children drawing on the pavement, clouds shaped like impossible things. Tiny routines hold the pieces of the life we're building. Borrowing joy from ordinary scenes until they start belonging to me. Borrowed constellations scattered through familiar days, made from little conversations and kindness on the way. Borrowed constellations shining where our footsteps meet. Maybe all the love we're given teaches our own hearts to lead. Borrowed constellations, tiny lights we carry home long after they're gone. Mismatched chairs around the breakfast table, old songs drifting from the shelf. Someone remembers your favorite pastry before you mention it yourself. Bicycle baskets filled with flowers, laundry dancing in the breeze. Nothing here belongs in headlines, still it means everything to me. The world feels kinder when attention learns to stay. Borrowed constellations hidden in the smallest parts. A smile from a stranger can rearrange a heavy heart. Borrowed constellations lighting paths we cannot see, turning passing moments into treasured memories. No one shines completely all by themselves. We're stitched together gently by 1,000 quiet helps. Borrowed constellations floating through another dawn. Every tiny act of goodness echoes long beyond. Borrowed constellations, maybe this is what we need. Holding close the people who help us learn to believe. Someone left the curtains open, morning stayed a little while. The day keeps unfolding with another reason to smile. You text in lowercase, like punctuation costs too much. I read between the typing dots and still get everything wrong.
a charger at my place, like you'll be coming back someday. 300 jokes and blurry photos, living rent free in my brain. Maybe we're experts at pretending not to care. Maybe we're terrible at saying what is there. Dead phone etiquette. Call me when you don't know what to say. Dead phone etiquette. Missed each other in the laziest ways. No dramatic exits, no slamming doors tonight. Just another almost lost in bad reception lines. Dead phone etiquette. Dead phone etiquette. We keep missing perfect timing. Dead phone etiquette. You borrow all my playlist and skip my favorite tracks. You laugh before apologies, like that somehow brings me back. Maybe we're learning through mistakes we never planned. Maybe being awkward is all part of understanding. Dead phone etiquette. Call me when the silence gets too loud. Dead phone etiquette. Meet me where the lost things gather round. No grand conclusions, no heroes in disguise. Just two ordinary people trying not to minimize. Clean guitar answering electric piano. Tiny scent sparkles dancing over soft drums. I don't need forever promises or perfect words rehearsed. Just tell me what you're thinking, even if it comes out worse. Dead phone etiquette. Call me even just to waste some time. Dead phone etiquette. Maybe messy hearts still rhyme. No final chapter, no lesson left behind. Only little constellations drawn between our separate lines. Your charger's still here next to yesterday's receipts. If you ever need it, you know where I'll be. I forgot my umbrella. You forgot the shopping bags. Somehow everything felt lighter. Peaches rolling through the market, canvas sneakers out of step. A grocery list inside your pocket, missing half the things we meant. Someone's bicycle bell is ringing, fresh bread cooling by the door. Even the pigeons look unhurried, like they've nowhere else to go. Maybe not every moment needs a reason to be good. Gravity forgot us for a little while today. We laughed too hard on crosswalk lines and drifted all the way. Gravity forgot us like the sky had changed its mind, leaving all the heavy things a few blocks behind. Gravity forgot us. Gravity forgot us. Tiny miracles in motion floating through the moon. morning rush. Paper bags and borrowed jackets, orange peels beside the sink. Songs we only know in pieces still become the ones we sing. Neighbors watering balconies, children chasing paper planes. The ordinary keeps surprising those who learn to look again. The smallest joys arrive unplanned and fit perfectly in our hands. Gravity forgot us, turning weekdays into gold. Every passing conversation feeling brighter than before. Gravity forgot us, giving restless hearts a break, teaching us that lighter days can arrive without escape. Schedules waiting in a line, but this borrowed little morning belongs completely to our lives. Gravity forgot us for a little while, it's true. The world kept spinning softly while we learned a different view. Gravity forgot us long enough for us to see happiness can find a home inside simplicity. I forgot my umbrella. You forgot the shopping bag. Somehow everything felt lighter. Misplaced the moon again, probably left it in my boot. Between the grocery coupons and the pen that better writes, next to faded movie stubs from unexpectedly lovely nights, I lose my sunglasses weekly, forget the names of tiny streets, yet somehow keep remembering the songs strangers used to sing. Maybe not everything needs to stay exactly where it belongs. How to misplace the moon and still find your way home. How to laugh at wrong directions without feeling alone. How to misplace the moon, then stumble into brighter views. Life gets better sometimes when it doesn't follow rules. How to misplace the moon, a little wonder goes a long way. How to misplace the moon, turning accidents into holidays. Buttons disappear from jackets, single socks become folklore. Plants survive forgotten watering, then bloom brighter than before. A recipe missing ingredients turns into our favorite meal. Tiny imperfections often teach the heart what matters still. The world feels softer when we stop demanding certainty. How to misplace the moon and dance through changing plans, building tiny constellations with whatever fits our hands. How to misplace the moon, finding beauty in the loose ends. The happiest discoveries often arrive unannounced. keeps returning with every ordinary sunrise. How to misplace the moon and greet another open sky, trusting all the missing pieces have their reasons why. How to misplace the moon, a pocket full of second tries. Maybe joy is learning to be surprised by life. I misplaced the moon again, but breakfast still tastes sweet. Another day is waiting right outside the door. You said left, I heard right. Now we're blocking half the street tonight. You blame the mirrors, I blame your maps. We keep collecting tiny mishaps. A paper cup and tangled earphones rolling around beneath the seats. We're not exactly graceful, never perfectly aligned, but somehow all our detours lead us back every time. Parallel parking hearts, turning circles in the dark, missing every proper entrance, still arriving where we are. Parallel parking hearts, close enough to call it art. Maybe love looks less like fireworks and more like learning where to start. Parallel parking hearts. Parallel parking hearts. Scratches and apologies. Parallel parking hearts. You steal the fries, I steal your jacket. We never talk about the habit. Half-finished stories, random playlists, inside jokes nobody gets. We're not a movie ending, no perfect camera frame, but maybe all the chaos is another word for staying. Parallel parking hearts, turning circles in the rain, laughing at our bad decisions, doing it all again. Parallel parking hearts, every wrong turn leaves a mark. Maybe being slightly lost is exactly who we are. Short and thief dance with vintage keys. Soft synth pulses underneath. I don't need a masterpiece or every answer figured out. Just someone in the passenger seat when the city changes routes. Parallel parking hearts, learning slowly how to fit, leaving room for imperfections and calling that a gift. Parallel parking hearts, no finish line in sight, just your voice beside me, making ordinary feel right. You said left, I heard right. Let's just take another try tonight. forgot to seek them out. Seashells in jacket pockets, receipts tucked in paperback books. The kettle hums its sleepy chorus, breakfast slowly starts to cook. A record crackled in the corner, skipping through familiar tunes. Tiny messes fill the kitchen, making extra room to move. Not every perfect morning arrives without a trace. Sometimes joy looks a little untidy and still brightens up the place. Salt on the record player, tiny evidence we lived, proof that beautiful days rarely happen polished. Salt on the record player, turning noise into a song. The little things we leave behind help us carry on. Salt on the record player. Salt on the record player. The best memories linger long after they're gone. Postcards pinned beside the calendar, sun hats drying near the door, barefoot footprints through the hallway leading straight across the floor. Laundry dancing in the sunlight, neighbors waving from below. Everything keeps moving forward at a pace we finally know. No need to tidy every scattered piece. Some stories bloom inside the beautiful mess. Song on the record player, laughter woven through the air. Ordinary little moments become treasures unaware. Song on the record player, tiny signs of where we've been, teaching us that happiness can settle quietly within. One day we'll miss these cluttered mornings, the towels and the coffee rings, the unfinished conversations, and all their simple offerings. Salt on the record player, another weekend passing through, leaving traces on the furniture and brighter shades of blue. Salt on the record player, maybe that's what living means, holding close the imperfect parts of all our favorite scenes. Sand in the hallway, towels on the chairs. Morning stays a little longer here. One side of the earphone, one side of me. The station crew is moving. You always miss the chorus while searching through your body. A crumpled movie ticket falls out with all the maps. Shoes tap into the crosswalk, red lights counting down. You spin around in circles while strangers rush around. Tiny interruptions, unexpected chemistry. Nothing in the schedule mentioned you and me. Static kisses passing through the morning air. Static kisses finding magic everywhere. And shared playlists sweater smells like laundry, fresh from yesterday. You dance beside the bakery without a reason anyway. Sunlight paints the pavement in scattered shades of gold. The stories worth remembering are often never told. No grand arrivals, no perfect scenes, just happy accidents in between. Static kisses floating through the busy streets, static kisses making every heartbeat skip from borrowed umbrellas to notes inside a sleeve. Static kisses teaching restless hearts to breathe. Parts of a lifetime rarely asked permission first. They arrive without warning and quietly change the world. Static kisses gathered in the morning light. Static kisses, everything will be alright. We'll keep these little moments tucked beneath our sleeves. Static kisses, smallest kind of sweet. One side of the earphones, one side for you. The train keeps rolling through. Tiny crescent fingerprints across another tangerine. Weekend sunlight on the countertop, pajamas and untidy hair. The radio skips old favorites, nobody really seems to care. Sticky notes on the refrigerator, half a shopping list remains. Laughter spills between the dishes, dancing through familiar frames. Nothing special, nothing grand, just this little life we've planned. Teeth marks on tangerines, proof that mornings can be sweet. Tiny evidence of living scattered underneath our feet. Teeth marks on tangerines, brightest songs we hum along. Maybe happiness is smaller and stronger than we thought. Teeth marks on tangerines, tiny suns and open hands. Teeth marks on tangerines, teaching us to understand. Mismatched mugs and sleepy glances, toast crumbs resting on our sleeves. Houseplants leaning toward the sunlight, greener than they were last week. Neighbors wave from passing bicycles, children race beyond the gate. The ordinary keeps surprising those who choose to notice it. No perfect mornings, no perfect scenes, only moments in between. Teeth marks on tangerines, little sparks of everyday, turning simple repetitions into reasons we can stay. Teeth marks on tangerines, warmth tucked inside routines. Maybe joy has always lived inside the smallest things.
become our favorite stories, not because they changed the world, but because they changed us gently. Teeth marks on tangerines, golden circles on the plate, tiny signs of being present before the day grows late. Teeth marks on tangerines, everything we failed to see was waiting in the quiet corners of an ordinary league. Tiny crescent fingerprints, morning drifting through the breeze. Another tangerine, another chance to breathe. You said take it, I said no. Neither one of us let go. Half past midnight at the corner booth, you kept counting olives on your plate. I drew faces on the paper napkins, trying hard to look like I could wait. You said every tiny choice says something about who we are. I said maybe we're just hungry and making everything too hard. You overthink, I improvise. We call it balance in disguise. The last slice theory, nobody really wants to choose. The last slice theory, winning only means you've got more to lose. You laugh and push it closer, I slide it back to you. Maybe love is just pretending you don't want the final piece of truth. The last slice theory, round and round we go. The last slice theory, like everybody knows. You remember dates and birthdays, I forget where I put my keys. You believe in detailed planning, I trust accidental symmetry. We built entire conversations from things that didn't matter much. Still somehow those little moments were the ones that stayed with us. You hold on, I drift away, then meet you somewhere halfway. The last slice theory, nobody ever gets it right. The last slice theory, guessing through another Friday night. You smile and leave it waiting, like you got all the time. Maybe caring and surrendering without keeping score this time. Electric guitar answers Rhodes piano. Someday we'll forget what started all of this, but not the look you gave me across a table built for two. The last slice theory, nobody leaves without a trace. The last slice theory, finding home inside familiar ways. You split it down the middle and hand me half again. Maybe love is choosing someone even after arguments end. You said take it, I said no, then we shared it after all. with scattered on the table.
Old postcards tucked inside a notebook, plans that never made the train. A language app with daily reminders, still waiting for another streak again. The bicycle leaning by the doorway, running shoes beneath the bed. Every version of tomorrow dancing circles in my head. Not every dream needs perfect timing. Some things bloom through rearranging. This is the shape of almost, the outline of becoming. Tiny steps across the kitchen floor still count as moving. The shape of almost looks brighter in the morning light. Maybe getting closer is enough for today, and maybe that's alright. Almost, almost, almost a little closer every day. Almost, almost, almost finding our own way. Recipes with missing pages, books with folded corners worn, paint stains on forgotten t-shirts, proof that something new was born. Weekend markets full of strangers, laughing over peaches sweet. Nobody really has it figured out, they're learning as they leap. There is beauty in unfinished things. Even birds rehearse their wings. This is the shape of almost, courage hidden in between the messy little victories nobody else has seen. The shape of almost turns ordinary into gold. Every hopeful heartbeat writes another story to be told. The map keeps changing, roads unfold. A younger heart still growing bold. No need to rush, no need to race. Wonder lives at its own pace. This is the shape of almost, standing underneath blue skies, trusting every small beginning without asking why. The shape of almost, 1,000 chances left to try. Maybe beautiful tomorrows start with simply showing up and giving life another smile. Half-finished lists, morning breeze, everything becoming exactly as it needs.